Hi guys, this is my first video in a fair while. I know I've been a bit quiet recently on the channel. I had a few videos in the pipeline and they were recorded, just ready to get uploaded. And then unfortunately my camera was stolen whilst I was in Spain and they weren't backed up, so you can kind of get the gist of what happened there. So unfortunately I had a video on a turntable, an on-cue amplifier, something else in there as well. I think there was an Arkham amplifier as well, and unfortunately we lost all of them, so it rather irritated me. Anyway, getting back to the gist of this video, a while ago I did promise that I would review the Cambridge Audio Edge after I'd kind of given it a go and got it bedded in. Well, after I'm sure probably a few hundred hours of being played now, you can imagine it has been driven in and all the audio components should have warmed up with that settling in period. So I think it will be time to have a final opinion on it for you guys who may potentially be looking at buying it. So like I said, powering on's simple. You have to power on at the unit. That's the only irritating thing I find, is you can't power on with the app. The app on the dedicated Edge app won't let you power on. Takes a few minutes to power on, connects to the internet pretty quickly and stuff like that, even with mine being connected wirelessly. I'm going to try connecting by Ethernet and might power on a bit more quickly, I'm not sure, but that's probably worth doing. You've got the Cambridge Audio knob there. I will explain the dial with that in a second, but there's a dedicated Cambridge Audio stream app called Stream Magic, and it's fantastic. I've got used to use that recently. You can log into your streaming profiles, Tidal, Cobas, Spotify, whatever, Amazon Music. You can log in on your account on there and stream directly through the Cambridge Audio app. It also allows you to change sources, browse internet radio stations, so radio tuning and stuff like that. And you can also, if you have a USB stick in the back, so say you've got FLAC or WAV files in there, it will read your USB stick, and you, rather than trying to use the dial, which actually is not a feature on the Cambridge Edge, you can't use the dial to scroll through scroll through the system like you can on the 851 and the CX10. You can scroll through and use the dial to select letters and search for tracks and search different inputs. The Cambridge Edge dial only allows you to change volume and change input. You do have to use the app to like kind of search for stuff, search for tracks, or browse your music streaming service, or read from a USB stick. So, but it's pretty cool. I mean, it makes it a lot better. Obviously, it's much easier using your phone to read what the Edge's what's on the USB stick connected to your Edge. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, I'll show you some little features quickly. Hey guys, here's the Cambridge Audio Edge app. I'll just jump onto that now. You can turn inputs on and off via the settings. So if I just jump on there, on more, and up to settings, you can have changed display brightness, so the brightness on here. You can change the name of the unit, auto power down, stuff like that. But also sources. So I jump onto there. You can turn on and off stuff you don't use, so it's easier for flicking around on the knob, on the kind of the bank vault type cog. So for example, I don't use any of the analog inputs down the bottom because I just have one analog input connected via an XLR, sorry. So I don't, analog output. So I don't use any of the analog inputs. So I just turn the ones off I don't need, so I don't have to scroll through stuff inputs I'm not using at the time. So it's much more convenient. It's cool. You can kind of customize stuff, Chromecast, etc., etc. Yeah, it's pretty good. And like I said, you really want to be using the Stream Magic app though to kind of connect sources. But if I jump on here, USB device, flash drive, it can read your stored USB files. Here we go. So all my FLACs on there. I can flick through my FLACs. They all come up in with the name titles and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Rather than scrolling through, you know, and searching by letters and stuff, it's scrolling through on the edge. It's much easier using the app to kind of search through in folders and stuff like that. You know, obviously reads from folders much better. So like I said, yeah, using the Stream Magic app is fantastic for streaming. You've got internet radio, all your streaming services, and stuff like that. You can also use Spotify Connect directly from Spotify app, or Google Chromecast for Tidal and stuff like that. It also supports AirPlay 2, which is pretty cool if you are an Apple user, and XLR input and output. You've got analog RCA inputs, 2 optical inputs, a coax input, internet obviously, so radio to the Chromecast AirPlay, and HDMI input, which is brilliant. So I use it for connecting just to stereo left and right of my TV for the time being. I think it's fantastic. It supports HDMI ARC as well, which is great. It's a good piece of kit. I honestly couldn't fault it at all as a streamer. I think it's fantastic. 32-bit DAC as well, so it will decode MQA, but not directly. So this is the issue at the moment I'm having. It won't directly decode MQA files. I'm not sure if it's because MQA charge an absolute fortune to obviously HiFi manufacturers for the rights to use MQA, but it will decode MQA through another streaming device. So if you connect your laptop, for example, as a streamer, a MacBook or mini Mac or something like that, you can use that to stream the MQA files in, and if you change the settings and output of the Mac, you can output it in USB into the Edge, which will then decode it in obviously high-res audio quality and master audio for Tidal and stuff like that. The Stream Magic app will also let you access a NAS drive. So if you're looking to kind of use a music server, you'll have to use the app to go through it like you would use it to go through, like I showed you in the USB, just to kind of go through the files and the settings and menus and kind of how you've saved stuff on a NAS drive. So the Magic app will actually allow you to do that on the screen, which is pretty cool. The only kind of it's a £4,000, streamer. Is it worth the money? I think it's fantastic, and I think it is. It's getting close to kind of the name territory of the X2. It's NDX X2. It's not far off that, especially on the second-hand market. However, to be honest with you, for the money, I think it's fantastic, and I wouldn't ever shy away from buying one. I think it's brilliant. I would definitely recommend it to everybody. Like I said, all the inputs you've got, all the features and functionality. The app is probably the best app from any HiFi manufacturer we've had so far, other than kind of Sonos. Really, I think it's so easy to use. Accessibility, it's probably got a wider range of accessibility than Sonos has. So I think it's probably in that sense better than Sonos. It just works. It just works really well. I've not had any issues with it so far regarding functionality, dropping out or anything like that. It's been fantastic. It's a proper workhorse. Passing out via the XLR outputs as well. I cannot fault it at all. I think it's on huge depth, a lot of controlled bass response. There's a nice warmth to it as well, which is, to be honest with you, not typical of Cambridge Audio. They're generally seen on the brighter end of the spectrum, seen as slightly more maybe detailed and sharper, even for some people maybe bright. But this, I think they've just hit the nail on the spot. And to be honest with you, their flagship range, they've not kind of entered that market yet before at the kind of £5,000 mark, or like a £7,000 if you go preamp and power amp separate. You're talking £7,000, £6,000, £7,000. and I think they've just hit the nail on the spot. Really, the engineering's fantastic. It's built really well. You can feel how heavy it is with the transformer and the quality of the kit. Like I said, the only kind of drawback is the fact it can't directly stream MQA, which I think is just a certification, and obviously paying the rights for a contract, because I know Bluesound's little Volt now, node, either the £500 node they supply, does do MQA, so I feel like they could probably do MQA with a software update to the Edge, which I really hope is going to come out, because it is a bit of a pain trying to use a laptop to stream, but I'm going to give that a go. Fingers crossed we can hope for that. We've got a few new videos coming. I've spent about £700 on cables recently, interconnects, USB, HDMIs, power cables, an XLR, and maybe a couple of other stuff as well. And we're going to try and test the difference, and we're going to do a video of whether it's worth spending a bit more money on your cables or whether it's the classic snake oil, which obviously will split half of you down the middle. But yeah, let me know what you think, and if you're maybe potentially thinking of getting one yourself. But I would recommend it. I think it's a great piece of kit. And other than that, guys, stay tuned and like and subscribe. There's some other cool stuff on the horizon. Sorry, it's been a while, but here we go. We're back on it. Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Have a good new year as well.